Right, so we're out today we're going technical to be fair, we're having a lovely day it's a fishery I don't think I've ever brought the cameras to before. This is where I've grown up, this is Lingmere Fishery on the Wirral, owned by my mate Steve Openshaw. It's where I learned how to fish. I've spent more time here than anywhere else on the planet, pretty much testing and doing all sorts of weird things. But that's what we've come here for today. Almost a bit of a lesson learned thing, something I learned at Monk Hall a few weeks ago at a festival. And just improving the ways that you fish certain baits. You know what I mean? As everyone knows, big fan of hard pellets and that sort of fishing. It's what I want to do most of the time. It's what I'm most confident in. It's what I feel I understand the most. But with every method, there's always ways of improving it in certain situations, which is what this is going to be all about. Today, I'm focusing on fishing hard pellets in the edge. Yeah, completely different to fishing them across to an island or open water. Down the edge, they can be a bit of a moody bait in that because you're not getting as many fish competing down the edges early on, especially in a session, as you would necessarily to an island on a snake lake or a normal lake. They can be quite difficult to catch with hard pellets. It's really tricky to catch consistently because of probably the ways that you feed them in that they're not as accurate as other baits can be. I mean, if you're setting a very accurate trap that you would necessarily with ground bait or worms or micro, something like that, you can't achieve the same levels of accuracy with hard pellets on their own. But it's what the fish want to eat still. It's what I'm most confident in. It's what I want to fish. So it's about working out ways of improving my hard pellet fishing down the edge. Simple as that. And working out how I could be more accurate, how I could have more attraction in my peg. Just making the most of them fish visiting my peg instead of sort of losing my way. Because you can imagine when you're feeding hard pellets, whether it's by a cup, by your hand, bit of both, your bait naturally spreads. I mean, it's impossible to put it on a flipping 10p on the bottom. It's literally not going to do that because you're loose feeding particles. It's going to very quickly spread over not a big area, but maybe my tray sort of thing. You know what I mean? Probably 3 foot square very quickly due to inaccuracy of throwing, fish coming and staring it about, all the usual sort of stuff. Which is great when there's loads of fish there, they're clearing it out. But what if I'm having to be really patient, set my trap, be, as I say, patient early in the session when there's not big numbers of fish coming in? I'm not making the most of my peg in that sort of situation because I'm not feeding, well, I'm technically feeding the wrong bait to maintain the accuracy. So it's what I want to fish, it's what they want to eat, but things weren't as good as they could be. So that's what this is all about, making things better. Yeah, ultimately, and what it came down to was simply incorporating the same way as I fish edges with other baits to how I fish my hard pellets as well. I mean, what it is, it lends itself to fishing in slightly deeper water. When I'm sort of, I'm going to say 2.5 foot plus, when the fish want to be down a bit, when ground bait, traps of micros and that really in the shallow water aren't quite as good as they can be, fishing a bit down in that 2.5 foot hard pellets can be absolutely phenomenal. And it's where you're going to start as well, because it's often where the fish are more confident than coming tight to the bank. They want to hang down a little bit. So I wanted to use a bait that still incorporated hard pellets. I mean, I want to fish them on the hook and I want to feed some, but also increase my accuracy as well and the attraction, if anything. Putting a few more bits in the water. Hard pellets being so dense as they are, it takes a long time for any attractants to come out. So maybe I wanted something a little bit more just to leak into the environment, get a few more, get the attention of the fish, get a few more in the peg a little bit quicker. So that's what we've gone up with. Almost by accident, it came about up at Monk Hall. I was fishing micros and corn in the edge. Yeah, up a little bit, probably in 2 foot. And it was great. I caught really steady, and then they stopped picking the corn out, and it drove me flipping mad. I was like, why won't they eat it, but they're still in my peg? And then a little change to fishing a little bit deeper down, feeding sloppy micros still, my slopped up Fin Perfect micros I'm a massive big fan of. I mean, I have my normal pellets ready prepped, just softened as much as they possibly can, and then I soften them even further and give them a squidge, sometimes give them a handful of ground baits if I'm allowed at certain fisheries, but normally just a squidge. This has got no ground bait in, just a squidge today. Creates a lovely, it's almost like a ground bait, but it breaks down massively, really quickly. So I'm not worried about it going all over the place once it's in. It almost stays as a stodgy lump on the bottom, a broken down little lump with the particles in it to catch the fish as well. So my hook bait isn't the odd one out. So what I have been doing is with my pellets, these are our new hard pellets that we just brought out, I incorporate them into my micro pellets. So I don't put them in straight away because they'll soften up and go messy. The last thing I want is a load of bits. I might as well feed ground bits if I want to do that. But by having me little pile ready to go, I can literally add a few pellets, so I'm sort of feeding 10 pellets, something like that each cast, and I'm making a lovely little tight ball like that, just a clump of over-wetted pellets. You can imagine feeding that, that's probably got 10 hard ones in it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 off. But a little pile like that has loads of attraction, feeds the bait that I want to feed, keeps them a lot tighter than I could feed hard pellets in any other way, but also it keeps that accuracy really, really spot on. So you can imagine, instead of having this dinner plate with 10 hard pellets spread all around it, dotted all around it, the fish are never going to find my bait. Instead, they've got literally a flipping 10p piece on the bottom to home in on, and I'm going to get a bite a lot quicker. So don't get me wrong, there's still lots of different ways I can feed. I can still loose feed pellets over the top of it if I want, but I'm creating that focal point that is so, so important when it comes to all your fishing pretty much, unless you've got millions of them feeding shallow or something. You always need that focal point when fishing on the bottom, just to speed things along, just to give them that bullseye, to find it as quick as they can, get a bite quickly. That is what it's all about. So I'm going to put theory into practice and have a little go. So I've got him all plumbed up, so it's just so you can see. Literally, I'm not going to waffle on about how the peg's responding or anything like that. I'll talk about the little things that I'm looking for, and simple as. So that's what I've got on, 4mm hard pellet, ready to go. Standard F1 fishing on this lake. Lots of F1s with a few little carp. I'm going to put my little pinch of hard pellets in the corner there, scoop up my micro pellets, and that's all I'm feeding. So a lovely little pile lump, and you can see when it goes in now, it stays lovely and tight as it goes in. I don't think it necessarily gets all the way to the bottom, but it gets flipping close and stays very, very accurate. You see when this goes in, so forget about my rig, let's get him out the way. I'm finding my spot, just as you would if you were fishing deeper water. See how that goes in, and there's no cloud, no nothing. It's the stodgy micro pellets almost keep it together and suck it to the bottom, keep it in like a stodgy lump all the way to the bottom, or very, very close, without letting particles go all over the place, and just keeping it together. So I know now if I'm sat there like that, with me markers all in place, everything is as perfect as it could possibly be for my trap to be set. Well, I've still got a hook bait that I want to fish. I mean, a nice, I'm going to call it non-selective in the case of a 4mm pellet, that everything's likely to eat it. I mean, skimmers, little F1s, whatever else. But it's not on its own. It's got more of that hook bait, or more options of that bait that's on my hook within the feed as well. Because while odd ones out can be great, I also think I want the fish eating what I'm feeding as well, or what I've got on the hook's a big, big thing for me, that. So I can start like this, nice trap set. This is literally my first go. Yeah, I've got a dry landing net, literally haven't caught a fish yet. I haven't got a dry landing net, but I haven't caught a fish. So I can literally sit and see if they're coming into my pile. But then, as a more, what am I going to call it, more versatile almost way of edge fishing, I've got the option of loose feeding as well now. I mean, not loads, the same mentalities as what I'd have if I were fishing pellet short. What I can do, just if nothing's coming into my peg, let's rush it along a bit today. So I've not seen any signs yet, but I wouldn't feed this quick, but I'm going to do for you lot. I can just make that little bit of noise with just like 3 or 4 pellets over the top. Yeah, not loads, and you can see immediately when I'm feeding, see how quickly that brought one into the peg there, that's mental. I mean, after I've hooked one, maybe I can feed a couple. So I don't mind the odd one being dotted about, because it's the attraction that it brings in of the noise, bait falling through. I mean, it's definitely a big factor still, especially once it's warm. But now all of a sudden I've got that focus point, that bullseye in the middle of the dartboard that the fish are going to home in on and look at first before they pick up those scatty ones that are all over the place. I've got the option of still getting bites a lot quicker. That's flipping 10 out of 10, that one as well. Look at that bad boy. It doesn't get much better than that. That's flipping amazing. I'm going to give myself 10.5 out of 10 for that one. But yeah, the perfect sort of example of setting a trap. And say, don't get me wrong, you're not limited to just this either. So if loads of fish come into the peg later on, just as a shallow line will be, put a few more pellets in, just as a cross line will be, sorry, not a shallow line, you can get away with it once there's loads of fish in your peg. Once there's hundreds there later on in the session, if they get really, really strong, then I can naff them off. And I can just start throwing my pellets. I can be really aggressive and just loose feed, because there's enough fish in the peg to be clearing it all up, to be competing for it. So without doubt, early in the session, or if you've got them big, clever, moody ones, so just watch how this goes in again. You can see it's just a lump, straight down, no cloud, nothing. I know that that lump's taking me bait all the way down to the bottom. What is quite important though, I must say in this, is to make sure you're fishing on somewhere relatively flat. Yeah, because you're feeding almost a ball-like feed, it's going to roll around in your peg really, really easy if you're fishing it on a slope. So I want my peg, I want a nice little flat 6 or 8 inch area, ideally, that my bait's just going to sit on. And that there, I'm just going to lay that in again. That there is pretty much the perfect trap set. So I'm going to give it one more go. I'll give it another minute, see if anything's coming over my trap. And if not, same again, make some noise, ring dinner bell with minimal, so I'm not spreading that bait all over the place, but still giving myself the chance of them finding that lovely little pile. And me catching one, so I didn't have to feed that time, even better. I'm going to feed again now, just 2 or 3, not a lot, just for a bit of attraction, draw them back in. And it is like shelling peas. I've got rid of the erraticness of catching that had happened if I was just loose feeding. I mean, because everything's so much more accurate, so much condensed, those few fish that are visiting, I'm getting a bite off them far quicker than if my bait was sort of needle in a haystack, if it was just 1 pellet among 50 pellets. I mean, in an area that they're potentially naturally more cautious to feed on during the start of the match as well. Early in the session, they don't want to crawl up the edge, not at most normal venues, and especially when keep net's going. One more. So yeah, just keeping things nice and sexy. I mean, I might have a lovely steady start and catch 10 fish maybe in the first little period, instead of the 6 or 7 that I would have caught just by fishing loose feed on its own. Now, by putting a few micros in, it literally does transform a peg. And the biggest thing that I'm always after is makes the method that I'm employing more versatile. Absolutely massive that in fishing. The more versatile any method is, the more options you've got to play with things. But yeah, pretty much nice, short, sweet one, but it's them little differences in making little changes like this that really can make a big difference when it comes to weighing in at the end of the match. So yeah, I'm going to catch one more. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all soon.